the Ice Princess. Yeah. So let's start with an Aurora video, and then if I brought up Aurora,
Yo, Greg,
ooh,
do you know that you still got the Narbash gameplay on the screen?
Yeah, just make that gameplay a little bit smaller if you can.
it's still too big. You think? How about now? Is that better? We'll leave it at that for now. Okay. We're gonna bring up the original Moragesh overview. Or
You mean Aurora?
Aurora. I meant Aurora, but I said Moragesh. Sorry.
What a charming little world. I'll take it. Until next time.
Yo, Aurora is badass. That was such a good trailer. Oh my goodness. So Steve, I'll let you start with Aurora. What do you remember about Aurora from Paragon?
Uh, I remember buying a new controller shortly after she came out, for completely uncorrelated reasons. Um, she was. I'm just taking a look at that passive that you added there, Chandler, and this, I, I fucking hate Aurora so much.
Yeah.
I don't know. But here's the thing. I don't think she's broken. I don't think she's OP. I think she is a really good character, and that's my problem with her. But like I think that's a good thing. She added a really good um dynamic to the roster. She makes a good mid lane and a good off lane. And I think even as an off lane, it really that was what I always remembered her. She didn't need help. She could get kills. She could get away. You know what I mean? She was self sustainable, and that was always a thing about her. Now, if you caught her going a little too ham bony, then I mean you could take her down easily. But it was so hard to lock her down. Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? She had technically 3 escapes because if she rooted you, then you know there'd be some space, and then she got ice sculpture to get out of things, and then to jump away, and then she had the ice slide, and then she could even ult you if she needed to. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
she was so hard to lock down, and so like the fact that now you can't even slow her down with her passive, it just makes me shudder. I don't know.
Uh,
So that's my initial thought on her
yeah.
passive.
So when I think about Aurora, it makes me think about what that meant for Paragon. So when Aurora was first introduced in Paragon, that was the start of a certain kind of character in Paragon. What do I mean by this? The characters started looking a bit more detailed, I found, which I loved. Their kits seemed a bit cool. But this is where they started making the characters a bit more simple and a bit more easy to use. Even though Aurora had quite the skill ceiling, even though she was good at every level. Um, and I also remember how bloody broken she was when she first came out. And just how I just remember her literally ulting in a team fight and getting 5 kills without a problem every game. And to say that's an
By herself?
by herself. And like to say that's an overstatement, okay, it obviously is a little bit, but not far much from the truth
It
because
wasn't hard to do, like or at least like getting a few kills and then leaving other people just completely wounded.
Hmm.
Like that was always my problem with Aurora. It's like it never really felt like you needed to be super skilled to play her, especially if like if you didn't build ability damage, yeah, you were kind of fucked. But like I don't know, it was just like she always felt very like, oh, I just can't move. All right, cool. It just reminded me of Blue Magic in Magic the Gathering. It's just like, oh, I can't play. All right, cool. Like, there's literally nothing I can do to stop her from getting away or to stop her from freezing me. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, but she did get nerfed. She did get nerfed. But I remember at the
oh
time
yeah,
she was an offlaner, jungler,
there's no way to deal with
support.
her.
Some people were playing her mid lane, and I was just like, "What is going on?" Like, who was like? Because no one gets to play Aurora first day because except a select few, because everyone wants to play her, and and I just remember not playing her for the first day and just being like, like this character is broken." Uh, so it seemed like Paragon released a character that wasn't fully finished. Like obviously your kit was finished, your animations was finished, but the balancing was not finished and all that stuff. And that's in a sense you could say that that's really where Paragon started to fall because it was at this moment in time when she was released that the level of players started to go down
Yeah, you made
significantly.
you made a good point with like it was at that character is when it started because if you think about like Countess came out, we knew it was a good character. It didn't break the game. When Crunch came out, I thought it was a good character, and it didn't break the game. Seraph, still, no one ever really thought she was like super awesome, but it didn't break the game. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
When Aurora came out, like it was just a consensus that what the fuck are they doing? Like
Yeah,
what?
and this was also around the time when the 5 minute or prime came up, which I always bring up because I literally remember winning games in 4 minutes, and I was mind blown. Um,
Yeah, that
but
shit was
anywho,
huge.
let's move on to Chandler's idea. The passive for Aurora that we have is Ice Princess, not affected by movement speed. So what Chandler was thinking, because we did previously talk about this, is Aurora has so many good getaways that just to make her slightly better without putting it too over the top, we said movement speed. And some people say, well, that's kind of stupid. Why specifically movement speed? I think because by the time Aurora gets in the game, she's going to be a counter pick in a sense. You know what I mean? And I think with her passive, that'll be a really good idea for her to be a counter pick. But Chandler, would you elaborate more on what you were thinking?
Gotta get swole.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, no, my phone just glitched out a little bit. So what were you asking?
What is with her new passive? What is the idea? What's the thought process behind it?
So, okay, so this was sort of my, and sort of, I want any passive that I sort of really add to a character. I really wanted to add flavor on top of utility. I don't want it purely just to be looking at it like in a MOBA sense that purely like this has to be part of the norm of what you would look for an ability at. But sort of the mindset where just her type of character, and like if you look in that old Paragon reveal trailer, like she was almost portrayed like a dictator, like this high up character of power that purely is just coming in and controlling a lane would just be nothing to her. So that's sort of the mindset I had. So building a kit around her purely like if you look elsewhere in it, there's a lot of like movement speed debuffs or like buffs for your team and stuff like that. It's the mindset of having a hero that can completely control the speed of a lane
Hmm.
and purely again dictate who goes where and does what. So there's only so many ways. Like I didn't want her to pull like a May and literally just throw up a wall in front of the lane and they just can't push through it until they deal damage. Like that didn't seem cool. But having the mindset where like if she's controlling the speed, I then don't want that person that seems like they have this high up power to be able to be knocked down that peg and somebody else be able to slow down her movement speed. Like, obviously, you can still root this character, you can still knock them up. It's just any movement speed debuff would not apply to her.
Hmm.
And it
Which
was sort
makes
of that flavor of, again, if she's deciding what the game is like, what speed the game is being played at, uh, it shouldn't be able to be applied against her.
Mm. Yeah, and I remember, just off the top of my head, I remember playing off lane with Aurora, and I remember sliding to make her slide wall show up, simply so my minions wouldn't push up, S- so so the enemy hero couldn't get just couldn't get minions, couldn't get the
That
minions.
was a famous.
They would have to wait another 20 seconds before they were getting another minion, a bit more CS. Someone's got some music going on. But anywho, we're going to move forward. The LMB, so the basic attack is just melee basic attack dealing basic damage. Just as simple as that. Is probably going to say the same. And then her RMB, Aurora leaps in the direction she is moving, leaving behind an icy statue of herself. The replica will draw aggro from enemies, minions, and towers and stay in the world for 7 seconds.
Yeah, this is the exact same ability. It's just they can balance it if they feel like it needs to stay longer, or if it needs to stay not as long, or if it can't pull aggro, whatever. But again, it was one of those things where when you're running away, it was nice being able to have that statue just pop up and you kind of boost yourself off of it.
Yeah, it is a really cool ability. It is a really cool ability. And I actually really like your idea of her being like a dictator of movement. I really think that's really cool. And I can kind of see it in your ideas here. So her Q, Aurora dashes forward, leaving behind a trail of ice that lasts 3 seconds that other heroes can walk on. This trail gives allies movement speed increase for 2 seconds and 10% movement slow to enemies for 2 seconds. Chandler, why did you decide to do this?
Yeah, so again, just more of getting away. So if all of a sudden you decided to be in some big team fight and two of your allies got killed and now you need to get out of there, you now have the ability to kind of speed up your characters, kind of like how Narbash would kind of speed people up, but also have the ability to deter. Like, obviously, like the movement speed debuff to enemies is only if they decide to walk on it. Like, you can easily, like, it's not that wide if you look at old gameplay. Like, you can easily walk to either side. But again, it's sort of that dictator mindset that people, like, you are deciding, hey, you cannot go on this specific part. Like, let's say it's the easiest to go straight, but to get around it, some stairs. Like, it's the mindset of just having more control over that lane, and I don't know, a 10% movement debuff for 2 seconds when that wall only lasts for 3 seconds anyways. Like, you'd have to be on top of the character while it was cast for it to 100% hit you. So by no means do I think it'd be overpowered, but more so just add flavor to it. Because again, before it used to just kind of appear in the world and it would just block things, and that's kind of where it stood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really cool. I think it really goes with your idea of the movement speed that you have going on. So let's move on to the E. So Aurora creates a ring of frost on the ground around her. That's the exact same. Touching the ring deals ability damage and applies a negative 10% movement speed slow for 2 seconds. The ring remains in the world for 2 seconds. So she uses her set it to never expire. Oh, River, I'm gonna have to do that. Damn, I didn't. Yeah, because the same thing happened with Sawcap. Thank you for letting me know. Uh, we'll fix that after. So yeah, so this is really cool. So it's basically her circle again, which is kind of a skill shot. If there's anything in her kit that is a skill shot, it's probably this, because you have to catch the enemies in it. It has like a certain range to go, and if you catch them, instead of stunning them, you have a 10% movement slow, right? Yes.
Yeah,
So, and that's just following your idea of movement speed and trying to take a stun away, because she did have quite a few.
yeah, exactly. I don't with that character, I don't really want her completely rooting somebody in in place. I would rather her, because again, like with any of these things, unless alt, I don't really want them like completely getting stuck in place. Uh, but with all these other abilities, like it's just a little bit of ice. Like it's not going to completely seize a character up. It's more so going to again slow them down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really like that. So then we're on to her ultimate. Aurora freezes an area, applying a 25% movement speed slow to all enemies for 1.5 seconds. After 2 seconds, the ice on the enemies explodes, causing ability damage and a small AoE around each target. Each enemy inside the explosion AoE will have a new explosion applied to them. So you completely took out her AoE ult and just said you're only getting slowed.
Well, I mean, still does damage. It just before it used to, I think, stun them as well, and
Mm-hmm.
now it just does a higher amount of movement speed slow. I think before it used to be 10%. I brought that up to 25.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, like obviously the levels, like you end up balancing percentages and lengths of time and all that other shit. Like by no means is this going to be a completely balanced build. It's more so like the direction
Mm-hmm. I actually
more than
think
anything.
what you have going is pretty good. It's pretty good. Uh, the only thing I would argue is that maybe there's not enough skill shots in her kit still. Uh, but overall, the ideas of the kits I kind of like.
Well, I guess what kind of skill shots did she have before?
It was only her ice wall and her circle, and I guess you can also say like her statue is kind of a skill shot, but so uh, sort of yes, sort of not. Yeah. But overall, I think this is good. I think this is good. I think this is going to be a character people will enjoy, and I think it's a perfect pick of what does what to say. And what does Reverb have to say? Attacking the statue does X damage on roots
Oh
for
yeah,
Y
yeah. No,
seconds.
that would help. I like that added. Yeah.
Oh, that might be really cool. What do you think?
Oh
That
yeah, 100%.
that actually sounds like a really good idea. Is that too many stuns? Well, then again, you can always change the stun, so it probably isn't. No, that's probably really good. It's
Well,
kind
in
of
my
like
current
a.
build, she has no actual stuns. They're all movement speed slows.
Mm-hmm.
So if again you just added the only stun she has is from that statue. I don't mind that. I mean, by no means do I think that's staying in the world for 7 seconds anymore.
No, no, no. But why I
Like,
really why I really like that is why I really like that is there's a character in Smite, Athena. I remember how she has an ability that makes people like come to you.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty much this kind of ability. So it actually is really cool. Yeah, as long as her ult is 95% slow. 95%.
Well, again, that's only for 2 seconds. It's just
Yeah,
keeping
and it
them
is an
like
ult.
freezing all the ground around them
That's
and
true. That's
keeping them
true.
in place.
That's true. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I can agree to that actually.
Yeah.
Steve, Kenny, what do you guys think of this Aurora? Would you want to play this Aurora in Fault?
Yeah, I like it. But I was thinking of for her ult would be similar to May ult to slowly slow them at the end, root them.
Hmm. Steve,
You
what do
know
you
what I mean?
think?
Steve's away right now.
Steve is away. Oh, okay. Cool, cool, cool. And Reaver said he thinks the 7 seconds is fine because you can still play it and Roots still let you do everything. Yeah, and you just can't move. I kind of agree. I kind of agree to that too. And I was thinking like even if you get slowed, you could still probably use like Crunch's ability to fly away. Um, so that it's
Yeah,
not
there's going to
on
be
her
characters with obvious like dash abilities that can
that are yeah.
obviously outplay a just basic movement speed debuff.
But that's what you need, right? There needs to be counterplay, and in the past, Aurora didn't have much counterplay, so that's why I think this kit is just fantastic. Okay, so